and we're live.
Great. Welcome, everyone. Today we will have an iwow and Mendix hosted webinar about unlocking efficiency in manufacturing, smarter, faster, and more scalable solutions with low-code. My name is Clara Stadenfeld, and I will be your host and one of the speakers for today. And for this 30 minutes, we will go through who we are, who Mendix and iwow is, the challenges with IT within the manufacturing industry, some common use cases that easily can be replaced with low code, and in the end, we will have a live demo and a Q&A session. So feel free to add your questions and in the Q&A bucket. So let's start. As I said, my name is Clara and I'm working as a product manager and helping organizations to adopt agile method of way of working in the IT divisions of companies with focus on digitalizations and AI and data. Jarkko is also one of our speakers for today, and he leads iwow Digital, who are a company focused on helping organizations scale through digitalization, data, and AI.
Yes, thank you, Clara. Really happy to be here today.
And then we have the third speaker for today, that is Tim from Mendix. And he is a pre-sales solution architect at Mendix, and he supports the Nordics organizations in accelerating digital transformations.
Nice to meet you all.
So we start. Who are Mendix, Tim?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Mendix is a low-code company that was founded back in 2005. So we've been in this space for quite some time. I think low-code as a term has grown quite significantly over the last couple of years. And Mendix was actually one of the one that really kind of claimed what low-code is from the very first start. We were acquired by Siemens back in 2017, and today we can probably say that we've been a leader in the space for the past 8 years. So what we do is we help companies with delivering software faster through our low-code platform. So that's just a short introduction into what Mendix is, and we have thousands of customers today with building applications in a lot of different spaces, manufacturing being one of them. So thank you. Let's check over to iwow.
Thank you, Tim. So who are iwow? iwow is an IT and business consultant company located in Sweden. We have 2 offices, one in Gothenburg and one in Sweden. And we are a senior team with extensive experience in various sectors, all from manufacturing, telecom to public sector. And what our expertise is in the business transformation using low code and AI, product management, and also the global IT transformations. And for examples, we help companies to successfully recover and drive forward challenged projects. We're also leading large AI projects, and we also do business analysis and requirement gathering. And the reason why we did choose Mendix as a partner is because of the leading low-code platform, as you can see in the Magic Quadrant Gartner rating that a team did show. And we also like that Mendix integrates database, logic, UI, and development or deployment in one system that enabling rapid app development in minimal coding. And what are the challenges that we have seen regarding our experience? So what we have discovered and also heard from our customers is that the challenges, some of the challenges is the budget constraints, and the budgets are too tight for IT and digital transformations. And to support companies' digital ambitions, manufacturers need to investigate or invest in significantly in evaluating and upgrading their IT infrastructure to create the required flexibility and agility. And what I've heard from one of our customers is that they now have understand that they need to invest in IT.
Good. And one of the other challenges that manufacturing companies have is that they want to utilize more digital channels. They want to get more aftermarket data. And just kind of getting all this data and connecting it with all the kind of in-house systems that can be, some of them can be legacy systems, some can be quite old. So that is quite a challenge. Can we go a little bit further in the yes? And one of the good solutions for that is actually to use a platform for rapid application development. So it enables rapid development, of course, quickly getting off the ground with combining these separate platforms together. And also when you have a platform that has good data integration capabilities, so then you can connect the data together and you can start collecting the data from the customer portals, for example. And when you have a platform like Mendix, so it's very easy to create the applications, both, of course, online. They work on a web browser, but they can also work on the phone and other mobile devices. So a platform like Mendix is actually a really good enabler for gathering the aftermarket data and enabling the use of digital channels in kind of the customer life cycle.
And another challenge that we can see is the challenge with the gaps and misalignment between IT and business. And we need to evolve the education of technology to be able to close the gap. We think that the misalignment often depends on the fact that we don't set the time to educate ourselves in the same pace as its new technical tools incoming. And the successful factor is that the development team consists of both business and IT. And a quote that I got from one of my customers is that we need to constant education and drive to close the gap between business and IT. And the fourth challenge is that we have a gap between the challenge and the managing the stakeholders' expectations. So one example is that when a new system is established, the stakeholders says that it's easy to use or it's easy to code, but an important part is that we need to be enabled for successes to continuously support the organization throughout the challenges and the platform. Jarkko, can you please tell us more about some common use cases that easily can be replaced with low code?
Yes. So one of the typical things that we encounter actually in many organizations, so there are these Excel or document-based processes. This can be anything from kind of supporting processes or any type of data collection. So maybe you are doing some R&D and you are kind of developing a new type of process or a new type of way of working in the organization. But for that, you need to gather data from the kind of people in the process. So you usually create a simple Excel file or a Word document that you need to fill up, and then you kind of send it away in an email then going forward. And another type of thing is any type of approval process that are happening and so on. So it's a way that gets you quickly started. So it's excellent, of course, for prototyping about the way how you are doing the process. But unfortunately, it also often remains as kind of the final solution. And when you have this kind of a process there, so what happens is that you don't actually get a lot of data about the process. You don't really kind of understand how the process is evolving as the kind of thing that you were developing it for evolves as well. So another challenge there as well is that you usually end up having a lot of different file versions going around. Usually if you have an Excel file, so even if you have the best template and the latest template, so people get the one that their manager uses or the one that their colleague uses. So you end up having all these different small problems in the process in the long run. So just transforming these types of processes and enabling R&D to kind of quickly go from the prototype to an actual application that you can use in a mobile phone or or other device. Like it's gonna kind of unlock a lot of data that you can use for future improvement. It's gonna make the process much more solid, and that of course in the end. So it's gonna help both the process itself, but also it will show up in the kind of end customer as well as a more robust delivery in that. But we do have a demo of this, so Mendix as a platform. So it's very easy to actually transform these processes to something that's a real tangible application.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, Jaakko. So yeah, the demo that I'm going to show today is using Studio Pro, which is our IDE to build application. We're going to start from an Excel file. So we have an Excel file for a case management app, which has a couple of different cases in it. It has a couple of different customers attached to them. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the start from spreadsheet from within Studio Pro. It's going to generate the application for us. It's going to create the database layer. It's going to create some pages for us. And yeah, we're going to use that as a starting point. And from there, we're going to add some validation to be on saving, which Mendix can do very quickly for you with our Copilot. We're then going to use Maya, which is our AI that is built into Studio Pro. And Maya helps with everything from, just answering questions on what we should do. She can understand context on where we're building and actually build for us as well. And we're going to use one of those features to utilize Maya to build in a couple of extra functionality, like a technician that we can attach to a specific case. And then we're going to be able to run this locally on our machine and test it out. So that's a little bit of the idea, to get up and running as quickly as possible, hopefully within the next 10 minutes. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and we can start from there. So I hope that everyone can see my screen. So what we're seeing here is Studio Pro running on my machine. And what we get when we start to create a new application is we have a couple of different starter apps that comes out of the box from Mendix. Me also being a part of Lato, a fictive company in this case, also gives me a couple of more starting apps. But at the top, we can see that we have a way to do a start from a spreadsheet. So I'll click on that one, and I use this as a starting point. I can name my application case management. I'm not going to enable any online services for this demo today, and I will create this app. And what it will ask me for is what kind of Excel sheet I want to attach to this. So in the background, it has created my app, and now it's asking me, okay, what is the spreadsheet that you want to use? So I have a spreadsheet in my documents folder that I'll use for this. So I'll open that. Mendix will then read through this spreadsheet. It will understand the different sites that we have to it, cases and customers. It will also link these two together. What I can see from here is I can see that it has, the title of it, the description, and all of these will be automatically added into our database. If I check under customer, I can also see what type these are. And I think I would prefer the zip code to be a string instead of an integer. So let me change that. And then all I have to click is import. So what Mendix now does is it generates the domain model for us. And the domain model that we see here is actually tables in the database. So here we have a table for cases and we have a table for customer. And we can see the link in between, that this is actually attached to customer as well. But it also built some overview pages for us. So it built in cases overview for us to see a nice list of all the cases that is now saved in the database. And it does the same for customers. And the first step that we want to add is, what you can do is you can actually go in and edit these. And we can see that we have these customer new edit. So when we click on these, we can actually go in and edit the specific customer. But what we want to add in here is when you click the save button, we want to add some validation to that to make sure that you've actually filled in everything. So we don't save anything that we don't want to save into the database. So what I can do is I can right click on save and I can generate validation microflow. So Maya in the background is now creating this for us. I can see that everything looks good on my end. I can go in and I can do changes if I want to. I'll spare that now for the specific demo and just generate a microflow. And a microflow in Mendix is the coding aspect of low code. So we can see that we have a starting point and an end point. and we have some parameters with the customer data that comes in from the page from the user. And what we see here in the middle are different types of actions of Mendix now checking, is what the user actually put in valid, and can we save it to the database, or do we need to send back a message to the user that they need to do some changes? So this is now created for us. So we'll do a save for this, and we'll go over to cases, and we'll do the same thing here. So we'll generate a validation microflow for cases as well. We can now save this microflow as well, and we've done the first 2 steps. So now we have a couple of different pages. We have made sure that we have validation on saving if we do any changes to cases or customers. So the next step that we want to do is actually utilize Maya to be able to add in a technician that we can add into or attach to a specific case. So what I can do from here is I can open up the domain model again. And we have something called generate domain model. And on the right-hand side, Maya then opens up, and I can tell Maya what I'm building, and Maya can then start helping us out. So I'm going to say add an entity for technician with name and email. And when I ask this, Maya will then look at my request and create it for us. It takes a couple of seconds, but then we should have a technician entity for us to work with. There we go. So Maya also understands the context, right? So what Maya looks at here is she sees that we have the cases, and the technician is probably going to be linked to the cases file. So what Maya does here is it adds this kind of link directly to cases, and it creates the name and the email as a string. So what we need to do here is then just be able to add in a technician to be able to use. So I'll right click on this, and I can generate overview pages. So now we easily then get some pages attached to this table. So I'll press OK. And on the left-hand side, we now have 2 new overview pages. So we can go in and look at all the list of the technicians, and we will be able to add a new one with new edit. The last thing that we have to do is just to make us able to actually go in and run this. So we'll start from the entity menu that was created earlier. And from here, we can just very much easily create a new item below. We'll make sure that this is now tied into showing the page of the technician overview that we just created. Let's select that one. And the last thing is just making sure that we have the text here so we understand what we're seeing as well. So let me just save this like that. And then we have our home page. And the last thing is just to add our menu. And then we should be good to go. So what we can do now is we can actually run and test this locally. So Studio Pro is something that you download and run locally on your machine, which also means that when I want to test something out, all I have to do is run it, and it will spin up the server locally for me to test it out before I commit or do any of my changes to the team server. So in the background, what we're using when we're building Mendix is Git. So you can have multiple people working on a project at the same time. You can do testers locally, and then you commit your changes. So now I can go in and view my application. I can see my different cases that we saw earlier. I can see different customers that were also then added automatically for us. And I can create a technician. So in this case, I'm going to be the technician. So I'll add myself in, and I'll save that. Now, if we go back into a specific case, if we try to create a new case or anything like that, and we don't save everything, it's going to say that the title is empty. But in this case, we're not actually seeing that we can attach this to any sort of technician. So we'll have one last change that we need to do. So if we go back into our Studio Pro and we open up the cases new edit that we just saw, from the toolbox on the right-hand side, what we can do is we can drag in a reference set selector, which is going to tie this into the data source from the technician. So from here, I can just choose name. I'll press save. I'll rerun the application. It goes very quickly. Now, if I go into a specific case and I click change, here I go, I can now attach me to a case to a specific technician. All within the span of, I don't even think 10 minutes. So what we've done is we've used an Excel sheet as a starting point. We've gone from having some data, having, creating the domain model, the databases, filling that with data, creating overview pages for that, asking Maya to help us both with a validation microflow to be able to validate the fact that we actually put in data when we do any sort of save, and then use Maya to extend the application, adding a technician that we then can attach to a specific case. So again, this is a very small use case, but it just shows how quickly you can actually get up and running and do something and then iterate, obviously building a lot more in the future. The next step could be to add a workflow to this, which you can then follow in different statuses and make sure that we follow up on each case. But yeah, that was the very short demonstration of how quickly you can get up and running with Mendix. So I'll stop sharing and leave it over again.
Thank you, Tim. So now we have time for a Q&A.
Yeah.
I have one question actually.
Yeah.
If we have Power Apps, how can Mendix support? Is a question.
Yeah. So what Mendix does offer compared to Power Apps is more flexibility and better performance for large scale apps in a larger scale. It also allows for more advanced customization. And when we think about kind of integrations, for example, so what Mendix allows is more advanced integrations, especially into non-Microsoft systems like SAP, Oracle, and also through other APIs. So Microsoft Power Apps, so they mainly integrate with Microsoft products, and it's kind of maybe more geared towards these business citizen developers. And what Mendix does really well, actually, is that it enables more junior developers to get really up to speed with developing robust enterprise-grade applications in a really short time. So
yeah, and I think also for specific use cases like manufacturing, the fact that with a Mendix application you can host it anywhere. You can host it on an edge machine on a shop floor, which also gives you the extensibility of building application on the shop floor a lot easier than you would with other low-code platforms.
Good. Another question is, if it's easy to use, why do you need certified developers?
Yeah, so when you have kind of the background knowledge and understanding of how the workflow of building a robust application goes, so that really kind of strengthens the development cycle. And what Mendix has in the platform is a really robust support for actually doing agile development at a scale. So kind of getting certifications and getting certified developers, so it really allows you to utilize all of those functionalities that can help you to really build applications rapidly at a larger scale. And as I mentioned kind of earlier there, so what Mendix does through the certification as well, so it really allows quickly for more junior developers to get going, and it allows also experienced developers to be very productive in a very short time. So utilizing all the functionalities inside the platform, all from kind of the portfolio management to collaborative process spaces and to the development functionalities. So yeah, by getting a certification, so you ensure that you can utilize all of those fully and not just focusing on kind of drawing nice apps, I would say. So the platform has so much more to offer than just apps. Tim, how would you comment?
No, I think that was a good answer. I think professional developers, what they can do when you get a local platform like Mendix is they can really focus on the hard task and the stuff that is actual fun, right? The complex integrations that we want to build, or how the architecture should be set up. I think that is the main thing, that they can really focus on the stuff that is hard, and then you can invite other people to focus on other areas of the building phase.
Nice. I have a new post. Does Mendix support building mobile apps?
Yeah, it does. I think I can answer that straight out the bat. So for building native mobile apps, we use React Native in the background. So that's the framework that Facebook kind of produced for their own apps. The Pinterest used, that Instagram used, the Facebook themselves obviously use for their own app. So the same way that I showed earlier, using Studio Pro, you can build native mobile applications. So it really does cover responsive web app and PWA apps and native mobile. I hope that answered your question.
I think that was the questions that we got, actually.
Nice. Yeah, and I think if there's any questions afterwards this, feel free to reach out to any of us in this call, me, Clara, or Jarko, and we'll be happy to assist or help. Or if you want to do a further deep dive as well, happy to do that as well. Then they can reach out to Jarko and Clara for that kind of setup.
Yeah. But great. Thank you, everyone, for participate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.